Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Writing for Nonprofits. I just wanted to put together a quick little intro video to kind of try to help you out with getting started in the course. Just a couple of things about me before we get started. I have two daughters, but they're grown, and I have a granddaughter. She's 10, and she just started the 5th grade, and she's very smart, so I'm very proud of her. So the only babies that I have at home are my fur babies, which you see here. I've got Molly, she's my cat, and then Maisie is the one in the middle. She's the second oldest, but she's still the baby in every way. And then Modi over here on the right, he is only about a year old, so he's still a puppy. So I haven't had him very long, and he is very active, so he really keeps me busy. So anyway, just a little bit about me, and I wanted to go over just a quick run through of some of the major things that we're going to be doing in this class. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a really enjoyable course and that you'll really learn a lot. When you get into Blackboard, you'll see the welcome is where you usually start, and they've got this general info, some links that would be helpful, and then just some information on how to start. You've got the syllabus, and then the schedule link. And the schedule link and the discussion forum. Those are the two main things that I generally use. I just try to keep things simple in Blackboard. But you'll want to look at the syllabus, and I'm not going to read that to you, but it's here, so make sure that you look at that. And then here's the schedule, and the way I work the schedule is I do it in 2-week periods. So I'll build a folder for each of the 2 weeks, and when you as you work through the course, this is where you want to make sure that you go through and you look and you keep up with all the information here in the schedule, because this is probably 90% of where everything will happen and everything will be. I wanted to, before I show you a couple of things there, I wanted to talk about the major things we're going to do in the class. And I'm still working on some of the details on some of this, so I will flesh out the details and have those for you, probably within the first 2 weeks. But we're not going to start working on all of them right now. But the first thing that I've got here is building context. I'll talk a little bit more specifically about that. Before you start any kind of project, you want to, have some idea of some understanding of, the building blocks you need to be able to work on a project. Now we will do community partner projects. I have been in conversation with some of the nonprofits that I have some connections with, and so I'm finalizing some projects that they are going to have that you as students would be able to work on. These are real projects related to these nonprofits, and we'll get started on that probably week 3 or 4. So I'll have more information about that for you then. And then each one of you will pick a nonprofit that you just want to learn more about, and throughout the semester I'll have you look at certain things and just find out, take a closer look at like one specific nonprofit and what all goes on with that, so that you'll have one really good specific nonprofit that you can find more details about. And then we'll put your work all together into some kind of portfolio. I'm not talking like fancy bells and whistles kinds of things, and we'll talk about the most logistical way to do this. And those of you that are working on the certificate, the Writing for Nonprofit certificates, probably already have a portfolio, and so the work from this class would go in that. Even if you're not in the nonprofit certificate program, many of you may already have a portfolio that you've started, in another class or somewhere else along the way. So we'll go over that. It's pretty flexible, so that'll be just a way to kind of put the work together. So if you go back to the schedule and you click on week 1, you'll see here the things that are due during that week, and all of the work is due. And I think that's on the, let me see. Yeah, all of the work is due by Sunday midnight of the second week. So like for this weeks 1 and 2, at the end of week 2, which the Sunday is September 4th. So as long as you get the work turned in by the end of the 2-week time period. If you have questions about things as we go along, whatever the first posting is for the 2-week period, you can post any questions you have. I ask that you not send individual emails with course questions, because it's better to post them in Blackboard, because then other students can see them, have that information. It's easier for me to keep up with, because if you send me something in my email, I might not get to it as quickly as I check very regularly what's being posted in Blackboard. So my email can really get scary and things can get lost in there. So I appreciate that. So your first posting is just to read the syllabus and say that you've looked at that. The third posting, I'm asking you just to think about what nonprofit you want to look at for your own individual, the specific one that you look at. And this is just thinking. Right now, we're just starting to think and plan. So we'll do a lot of planning here at the beginning, and then we'll get into working on projects, exploring your nonprofits. And one of the things I want to say about this class, it probably is a little bit different than, say, just a content course you take. It's a project-based course, and it's also what we call kind of a community partner course, because we'll be working on these real projects. So this class really has a big component of responsibility in having you find a lot of the information, make a lot of the plans. I'm always there to help and guide and coach you, but it's not the kind of class where I'd say, okay, everybody's going to do X, Y, Z, and here's the process, and it's kind of all laid out for you. So you'll be looking and actively finding and making a lot of the decisions. So just keep that in mind as we go, because you may not be used to that. But I'll definitely answer questions and help you along the way. But you're going to be very much leading a lot of the decisions and the how you work and the kind of work that you get involved with. Now for this second posting, I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about that. And if you go to, and I've got the link in the posting there for you, so it's there for you. But if you go under building context, I have listed, you can see I've listed several different topics that generally fall under nonprofits. So we'll be doing some searching and some looking and some trying to build some context based on these areas. We may even add some. And so every week, at least for probably about the first half of the semester, maybe a little bit longer, you'll be needing to find one or two sources of information, and you can go out and Google, you can go out and look, however you like to do this. You can, if you know of people that do some of this work, if you want to talk to people, however you want to find the information. It does need to be, some kind of a substantial source. It's not like you'd just say pick a post that somebody did, say, on a discussion page, and maybe they said one little thing, but websites, articles, books with information. You wouldn't have to read the whole book, but there might be a book out there that has things that we want to at least be aware of. There are a lot of sources out there that talk about how to do writing for nonprofits. So you might find a source like that has some good info. So for these first 2 weeks, and to kind of get us started, and we'll be figuring out how to make all this work, and you guys can ask your questions and tell me where something might not be clear. You're going to want to post under one source with some information you found under vocabulary, and then one under types of nonprofits. And what I mean by vocabulary is, what are the terms that are used? In any area there are terms. So, for example, I just pulled up board of directors, and a lot of times you'll just hear people say the board, and so there's always some kind of overarching organization that's functions as a board for nonprofits. And so I just put down I just made up kind of an example. Say if I say a term I found that relates to nonprofits would be board of directors, and then I would tell a little bit about the source that I found, just enough context so that the rest of us have an idea of what the source is and how it focuses, and then talk a little bit specifically about what you learned about what this means, or how they function, or just what you think would be good to share with our group. Because the idea is we're going to find information and share it, and then together we'll all be learning about nonprofits. So as opposed to me saying, okay, read this and read this next chapter and watch this video or whatever, I'm going to have you go out and look. And the main reason for this is, if you did end up writing for nonprofits, or you ended up working at a nonprofit, then you're going to have to keep up with where the information is. And you're going to, it's always good to practice looking for good sources. And of course, that's true for probably anywhere you go to work. But in nonprofits, you end up, usually you have to really carry that load and do a lot of that yourself. So I think it's good practice for us all together just to do the searching. So anyway, so you do one for vocabulary, and like I said down here, if I posted something about board of directors and somebody else finds other information and they want to add to this, you wouldn't make another bullet. You would just underneath add, what you found. And so you will want to put your name, so that way I know that you have posted. And you can see when you go back, types of nonprofits, it's the same kind of thing. So you can post on that. I don't know why that one didn't open. Oh, there we go. So just right under here, you could put another bullet and post. So that's where I thought we'd get started with those two. And so, like I said, I will have more information on the community partners and explain a little bit more about the individual nonprofit. And so hang on and give me a little bit more time, and we should have all of that wrapped up by about the first 2 weeks. So anyway, like I said, I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be really enjoyable, and we should come out with some really good projects at the end. So I'll stop there, and please post your questions, and I look forward to talking to you, and we'll get going here and have a good semester.